Welcome to Impact Makers Radio, featuring industry thought leaders sharing problem-solving insights to help grow your business and live the life you love. And here's your host, Stuart Andrew Alexander.
Hi everyone, this is Stuart Alexander back again with another exciting guest. And my guest today, somebody really special. She's a professional chef, a writer, yoga and meditation instructor, sports nutritionist and adventurous traveler who helps women across the globe to set conformity aside and embrace what makes them unique. I can't wait to hear what she has to share with us today. Now, she's grateful for the blessings life has bestowed upon her and shares her story in the hope that it inspires others to reach for their own dreams, no matter how big or small. In her book, Big Time Journey of a Small Town Girl. That sounds really interesting. So, are you a woman who's a recent grad, a professional or entrepreneur looking to change your life and needing some guidance and inspiration from health and wellness to changing careers and moving abroad? Well, if so, it's time to down tools, take a break, sit back and listen in to my special guest today, who's going to be talking to you, I guarantee you this, straight from the heart, with the intention of helping you to get back on track and achieve your goals. So with that said, let's hear what she has to say. Owner of Emily Dawn Yoga and Wellness, Emily Dawn Szajda. Welcome to the show, Emily.
Thank you, Stuart. Pleasure to be here.
You're welcome. So, Emily, let's just jump straight in and establish who, in your own words, is your ideal client. Who's your ideal prospect? Who do you help, Emily?
Well, ideally, I help women. They're 22 years old to 40, 50, 55 years old, recent grads, professionals, entrepreneurs, innovators. They're looking to make some sort of change in their life, whether that be just changing apartments, if they need some guidance, to making a huge life change and jumping out of their career, going towards their passion and trying to find their purpose in life, whether that be domestically or making a huge change and jumping across the pond to, say, Europe or Asia, if that's something that they aspire to do. These individuals that I work with typically are looking for a healthy balance between their professional life and their personal life. They want to navigate the different social demands that society throws at them. They also want to create healthy change and embrace and sustain that change, so it's lifelong change. And then finally, they want to find that purpose, that drive, that inspiration that's fulfilling them in their life. It's more than just a lifestyle. It's something that's sustainable, and it just makes you feel fulfilled, and at home you can rest peacefully at night.
Okay, that sounds great. There's quite a lot of things that you help these women with then, Emily. So while you're out there doing what you do best, can you just share with us 2 to 3 common obstacles that prevent the women who you work with from achieving their desired outcomes?
All right. Well, I would definitely explain it to you kind of like a relationship. One, it's going to be financial. I think when you make change, one of your biggest hurdles is you don't think you're prepared financially to make that change, whether that be switching your job if you have enough money in the savings account, or if you make a change like I did and move to Europe. How do you do that, and how do you prepare yourself is a huge obstacle. It's breaking away from this idea that a certain amount of money in our bank accounts or our salary equates to success. And we need to find a new understanding of what success is. And that's very difficult to reprogram in our minds. I guess the second obstacle that I would see that most of my clients are facing is this preconceived idea of what society expects. I grew up in a very small town in the Midwest, and my father and mother were very conservative. So I had this embedded ideals within myself of what, the American dream was. So I had this standard set for me when I was a very young child that I couldn't really break away from until my mid to late 20s. So that's also another obstacle that many of my clients face, especially my American clients. And then finally, obstacle 3 would be just fear, plain and simple. Fear of the unknown, of fear of the uncertainty. It's taking the next step and not knowing where that step leads. This fear, it needs to be addressed. Once you become aware of it, very much in line with mindfulness, then you can start to minimize that fear and start to either use it, propelling you forward, or just trying to eliminate it entirely. And one way to do that is to calculate the risk, so you become aware of what factors that could go wrong, and then try to navigate through those so then you don't fear the situation or the change that is ahead of you on the horizon.
Right. I mean, that's some great feedback there, Emily. And so when you think about those women that you help and those obstacles that you just shared with us, could you, if you will, just think back to one or two people who you've helped? So they came to you and they were at point A and you helped them to get to point B where positive results were at the end of the tunnel. Could you share that with us? Obviously, keeping client confidentiality in mind, but I think that would be great for our listeners just to have one or two examples of how you've helped somebody to achieve success.
Well, I have two really great examples, both American women in their early 50s. One was originally from Texas. She's currently living in Brussels, Belgium, and she's very professional. She's a lawyer at a huge company. And she was having some family issues that were also personal issues. And we actually used meditation and yoga in her practice to become more aware of the issues that she was facing, more or less fear of the unknown with her family situation, as well as control more professionally and not knowing she was ready to make the next step in her career. But she wasn't ready to let go of the security that she had with this major law firm. So we worked through mindfulness and meditation to help minimize those fears. And then reprogramming just the brain through that meditation helped her to have more patience with herself, to let go of that control, and to be more understanding with her family and work through the problems that they were facing. The other example I'll give you was just a call I had recently, just last week, with a woman who's in her mid to late 50s, and she's in the publishing industry, and she can work anywhere. She freelances, and she often finds herself in the co-working space called WeWork in Manhattan. And we randomly got in contact over LinkedIn, which is a great way to network. And she was telling me about her aspirations. She feels that this year is the year she wants to make a huge move, and she wants to move to Europe. And so we had this conversation for about an hour and a half in the early morning hours about, what was her motivation. It was just a simple conversation. For me, I was getting as much information as I can, because every transition, every change is different. If you're looking to move abroad, every country is different, and how you deal with change is different. So I was working with her through the conversation, and we'll have many, many others. But I also provide her with some groundwork in regards to looking into the country that she's looking at, which is the Netherlands, and Amsterdam in particular, the city, and giving her a frame of reference, some tools, how to start planning for that calculated risk I mentioned before.
Awesome. She'll absolutely love it in Amsterdam. I lived there for 4 years myself, so she's making a right. Yeah, great city, great place. So misconceptions then, Emily, let's talk about that. What are 2 to 3 popular misconceptions that you come across that the women who you work with may have about achieving their desired outcomes?
Yes, misconceptions are huge. I think one is change, and thinking that you can transition through change unscathed, that it's going to be an easy road, but it's not so easy. Don't be fooled.
No. That's not going to happen. No,
Yeah,
not at all. Go ahead.
change is
Sorry.
always mauled by
Right.
the hiccups, the road bumps, the caution flags, and the detours. So you need to be able to navigate those and try to keep a level head, and more importantly, a grasp of your emotional self, because that can run a wire and really reap havoc. So change is not easy. The next one would be a big misconception that I had was the idea of this American dream, or this preconceived notion that success is the same for everyone, which success, you define your success, and you should never compare yourself or see yourself through someone else's vision of that success. So working two jobs may be your ideal of the American dream, putting in exhausting long hours. It just depends on the person, but rewrite the American dream and know that you can write it to reflect what you want and not what your neighbor or your father or brother wants. And then last one would be failure. Failure is not bad. We have this horrible faux pas, or this preconceived notion that failure is bad, that it's a bad thing. But, Steve Jobs failed. Huge names fail in life. And failure and pitfalls provide life lessons. They're wisdom. I like to accumulate failures. They propel us forward, and then they shape us into the people that we're going to become, who are the movers and shakers of tomorrow, who are going to make a difference in the world. So failure only propels us to higher levels.
What are the unknown pitfalls that you come across on a regular basis out there?
First, in mindfulness and becoming aware of the thoughts going through your head, it's listening to all those thoughts and then thinking they are all true. That's a horrible pitfall. So you really have to pay attention to what's going through your mind and clear out that mental chatter so you can find what is accurate, and then what you are telling yourself that is actually false, and not believing those false statements. Like if you tell yourself you're having a horrible day and that you're not worth it, that's absolutely false, because you are always worth it. So a huge pitfall. Number two, I would say, patience and persistence. My grandma always said patience was a virtue, and I remember the exact moment when I needed that, and it always comes back, that memory. But change will not happen overnight, so not allowing yourself to be detoured or distracted when life doesn't exactly work out the way you think it should, because it comes back to that failure. Even if you have a setback, you are on a journey, and you will get to the end point you're supposed to get to some way or other. So patience and persistence.
Why do you think we have this mental chatter then, Emily?
I think, depends how active your mind is. But in yoga and meditation, you're striving for enlightenment, which is pretty much clarity of the mind without the chatter, which is very difficult when society is always on the move. And we're going through our mental daily to-do lists. We're criticizing ourselves. We're judging others because we're just humans. It's not okay, yes, maybe it's a fault, but we're all guilty of it. So it's just a culmination of how your day is going and to what level that chatter is going on. But we all have busy lives, so it's always present unless you really have a great meditation practice or a place of Zen somewhere in your house. You're very lucky.
So again, when you think about the women who you help then, Emily, what are some of their biggest fears? What are the most common fears that prevent them from even attempting to achieve their desired goals?
One of the biggest fears, and I know I was guilty of it, was losing that sense of safety and security, that security net that's there to catch you when you fall, and letting go of that safety net and walking out on the high wire and just trying your best and not being afraid to fall. So that's a major fear. That goes hand in hand with failure. So if you do fall, you just climb back up on the high wire and you keep going. Fear and failure just sets you back a little, but if you have determination, you'll be okay. And lastly, the clients I work with, again, it comes back to the mental chatter or judging ourselves over and over. that we're not good enough. We're not motivated enough. We don't deserve better, but whatever your aspiration or intention in life is, you deserve it. So if you can think of it, then by goodness, go get it. And so it's a common fear that we need to just reset our light post, our guiding light out in front of us and navigate towards it.
Let's talk a little bit about fear itself then, Emily. It's something that's always there. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, hey, I wish I was fearful. I just want to be so fearful. It's just something that's it's innate in every human being. Is it a good thing to have fear? Does it have any positive aspects about it?
I think if you can acknowledge it and become aware that you're scared, if you can say it, that's actually being vulnerable. It's wonderful. When you identify that you have fear, that you're scared of a certain situation, then it serves as a tool actually to help you handle it. I think fear, like you said, it's a very natural feeling to have. It's how you deal with it and use it to your advantage, and it can definitely be a motivator. I actually like to say the things I fear most or the things that are the most challenging are the most worthwhile, and I run at them. But that might be a little bit of odd thinking that not everyone would take the same guidance, but it's proven successful for me. But using fear to your advantage is huge. It's about that awareness and being able to discern, is it actual fear or is it something you're building up to be bigger than it is, and you can minimalize it again. Minimalize and use it to the best of your advantage.
Emily, can I ask you something personal?
Of course.
What you do on a daily basis, does it fulfill you? Is it fun? Do you really love what you're doing?
I do. It's not even work. I can go from 8 in the morning with my cup of coffee to midnight, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And I love having the conversations with women. I love being able to make an impact or inspire them, to help see that change come to reality, come to fruition. It's not work for me. There's no money, dollar sign on it. It's, of course, that's an added bonus, but it's more fulfilling to see women realize their potential, and then whatever financial means that comes my way is just a side note. When you find your purpose, that's the key.
Emily, that's quite a good segue into my next question, actually. And when I do ask this question, it always sounds really obvious, but why would the people who you work with, when you think about your audience, the 22-year-olds to 40, 50-year-olds, those women, professional women who are wanting to change their lives, they're wanting to live a life of purpose, they're wanting to live a life on their own terms, and all the other great things that you help them with, why would they want to even do that in the first place?
I guess the biggest question would be, why wouldn't you want to do that? I mean, we so often get caught up living our lives day to day that you can see the different ebbs and flows that we go through, where we're constantly busy and one day isn't different than the next. So you become unconscious to living. You're not fully present and fully aware. You're just running from one milestone to another, and a decade can pass you by. So when you bring purpose back into your life, you're actually helping yourself to find grounding and find your reason for being on this planet, for this special amount of time that you have to be here. For most of my clients, it's about finding something that they're passionate about that's fulfilling, whether that be finding that in a certain place, activity, volunteering, changing their professional careers to something that's more creative. They just need to figure out what is going to give them that grounding, help them plant roots, and make a difference. So they need to start to look at themselves and know that they're worth investing in, and then start making plans to start to see over time, baby steps, some change. And it will, as those baby steps become bigger steps and we start to mature, it'll become more rewarding. You'll see change that is sustainable. Maybe it was a leap of faith and you finally, a year later, after all that change has taken place and you're sitting down in your new home, you'll have this aha moment that was a good gamble, that was a great change, and you're now living in a place that's more humbling, more suited to your being.
You know, Emily, when I first introduced you onto the show today, I did promise the listeners that you would be speaking from the heart, and you certainly have. You've not let me down. You've not let the listeners down. One can just feel this genuine passion and this genuine love for the people who you help, the people who you know you can help the most, the people you have the greatest passion around helping, and the people who you've decided to follow your God-given gift and to use and to help them make these positive transitions in their life. So thank you so much for just being Emily, for being you. I really, really appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Emily, at this stage, because you've shared such great information, I'm sure that anybody who's listening to the show right now, they're thinking, who is this Emily Szajda? I really want to know a little bit more about her. She shared some great information. She's been selfless in giving her time to spend with us today. Who is she? Let's hear a little bit about her backstory and how it all relates and how it connects to the people who she helps today. So if you could, in your own words, Emily, just share, briefly your own backstory and how that all links with what you're doing today. And don't forget to mention your brand, and the name and all those great things that you're doing out there. So please go ahead.
Well, I am an American living abroad, so I'm an expat living in Barcelona, Spain. I moved to Europe about 4 years ago, and I moved to Brussels, Belgium. It was an entire leap of faith. I had gotten out of a bad relationship, as most women do when they need to make a big change, and I was living in the Phoenix Metro Valley. I could go into my sob story, but I won't bore you. You can actually read about it in my book, Big Time Journey of a Small Town Girl, which is an autobiography, and it is supposed to be an inspirational memoir that's motivating my audience, those women, whether that be recent grads or, very mature professionals, and they want to see change in their life, whether that's relationship, career, you name it. Change is amazing. It's also scary. So I moved abroad, and I wanted to not only move abroad across the big blue ocean, but I also wanted to change my career. So I was a chef and nutritionist back in the Phoenix Metro Valley, and I moved abroad and I became a yoga instructor, and I launched a wellness spa in the heart of Brussels. So I really took on the whole idea of change to the 9th degree, and it was the best gamble of my life. I had my share of pitfalls, bruised knees, failures, then scuffed elbows, only metaphorically, of course, but a lot of wisdom along the way. And I use that wisdom. I share it in my book, and I share it with my clients through yoga, through meditation, through conversations over a cup of tea, or Skype conversations with my clients or anywhere across the globe. I love being a centrifuge. I've met so many people on my travels. If I ever need to put someone in contact, it's only a click away. And I really enjoy that aspect of my life, getting to know people, getting to know their personal story, and being able to help them in whatever way it is that I'm meant to help them. I am a true believer in serendipitous moments. The spa that I worked at was called Serendip Spa. It was owned by 2 beautiful women as well. And in serendipitous moments, when you become open to different opportunities, when you decide to take that step, that leap of faith and embrace change, the world becomes your oyster, and so many positive things can come your way if you're ready to embrace them. So a big time journey of a small town girl. I'm still on my journey, still embracing more wisdom, more scuffed knees. And I hope to use those experiences to better enable the women that I come in contact to do the same with their lives and to be a success, to find that place that they feel home and to feel fulfilled.
If I was to ask you for your best advice, when you think about those women who you work with, those individuals who are looking for a healthy balance between professional and social demands, they're looking for how to create healthy change, to embrace and sustain it. They're looking for purpose. They're looking to find their purpose and a lifestyle that is more in line with their own individual calling and one that makes them feel fulfilled. So those are your own words. When you think about those ladies, what would be your best piece of advice for them?
My best piece of advice would be, don't let fear inhibit you from being the best, the most amazing woman that you can be. Relinquish the fear and begin to open yourself up to possibility. And if you don't know exactly what that possibility is right away, wait for it. Listen to your heart, let your mind guide you, find the balance between the two, and then run like heck towards that goal, towards that aspiration. Let fear be a motivator then, and let it propel you forward.
So, Emily, if somebody wants to know more about you, how would they be able to connect with you?
Easy enough. Just go ahead and connect with me on my website, www.emilydawnyogaandwellness.com. On that website, you can get helpful wellness advice in addition to amazing, delicious recipes and yoga tips. So that would be the easiest way to contact me, and I'll definitely be in touch.
Okay. Can they also find you on LinkedIn?
Of course. LinkedIn, you can find me under Emily Dawn Szajda.
Excellent. Excellent. So, Emily, we finished. Can you believe that?
Fantastic. I really appreciate you having me on your radio show this evening.
Hey, it's been a privilege having you on, Emily. You've shared lots of great content, and I'm sure the listeners are going to learn something from and get some real value from. So thank you for taking some time out of your busy day over there in Barcelona. I believe you're in Barcelona right now, right?
I am. It is so beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful city, and I do believe it's pretty late, so I'm going to wrap things up and call it a day. If you'd just like to say a quick goodbye to your listeners, Emily.
Thank you, everyone, for listening, and I hope to be in touch very soon. Have a wonderful day.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Emily Szajda. I'll make sure that her contact details are on the website. So that's it. That's another show with yours truly, Stuart Andrew Alexander from ImpactMakersRadio.com. Until the next time, take care and we will talk soon. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to Impact Makers Radio. To listen to all past, present and future industry thought leaders and trendsetters, visit us at impactmakersradio.com.